Peepsy Doodles. So I wanted to do a viewer request video today. I actually had somebody over on my Instagram ask me a question in which I answered, and they were like, you know what, I think that would actually be a really good video if you could do a video on that. And I'm like, what else do I have to do? Let's do a video. So here we are. So yesterday I did a seed blessing ritual here, and you can see pictures of it over on my Instagram on Pyper's Hollow. And so I posted pictures of the aftermath of my seed blessing ritual that I'm doing for my Green Witch Living course. And Mayas_admin asked me if how do you do a blessing if you are not blessing in the name of a god or a goddess or in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit? And so I responded to her and I said, well, I bless in the name of, universal energy, and I bless with elemental energy. And she's like, oh, that's really, basically she was like, that's really interesting. Is there any way you could do a video explaining that? Absolutely. So as you guys may or may not know, I do not really work with a whole lot of god and goddess energy. It's never been something that has been really pronounced or really active in my practice. It's never been, up until the last couple years, I finally came into realizing that it's just not something that I need to have in my practice. Having a patron god or goddess or utilizing those kind of energies are just not something that jives with the kind of magic and the kind of working that I do. It's just not, it doesn't feel necessary to me. Now you will know that recently a goddess came into my life, the goddess Isis, and so I have a separate altar for her. And so she kind of came in to help me with I have a lot of issues dealing with motherhood and the inadequacies that I feel in motherhood. And so her energy came in and is here to help me in that aspect. But it's not like I consider her a matron goddess, as in it's somebody that I utilize in all of my magical workings. There is a specific purpose and a specific reason that I have that Isis is here and that she's, helping me, and that's why I have an altar for her. But when I'm doing magic at my actual, at my main altar, I don't really utilize, I don't utilize god and goddess energies. Depending on what I do, I may call in Isis to have her be present, but it's not something that I feel has to happen. It's just something that depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing fertility work or motherhood work, then yeah, I'll call in Isis. But like for example, so yesterday I did a seed blessing ritual, and the way that I start all of my magical workings is I light my candles. I have my big working candle. I have my candle here that's dedicated to D. I've got just a little tea light here that's it's just about over, but it smells so good, and so I light this. I've got a little oil burner here that it will have an oil in it, depending, it's got jojoba or jojoba, whatever you call it, in there as a medium, and then I put in different kinds of oils. Frankincense is a favorite of mine, as well as lemongrass and sandalwood. And so I'll light this. So I really enjoy the candle aspect of things. I make sure that I have every single element present. I'm very, very element heavy when it comes to doing any kind of magical working. So I light my candles, and then I light my incense. Usually it's sandalwood if I'm doing a little bit deeper magic, something that requires a little bit heavier tone or more protective work, I'll light dragon's blood. But those are basically my go-tos. So that is my element of air that I bring into the space. And then I have I have salt here all year. During the springtime, I will switch this out and I will put, which it is springtime, but I will put dirt in here from outside, out in my garden. And then I just have water here. This is water from the Oak Spirit Sanctuary where I went to Witches in the Woods last year. So that's on my altar. And so everything gets blessed or kinds of consecrated with the 4 elements. The 4 elements are called. I talk to them, you know, I bring them in individually. Sorry, my nose is just like killing me today. And so, you know, basically the way that I start out anything is I, you know, light everything, do all my business as far as, you know, making sure everything's lit and here and ready to go. And then I just call on everyone and I say, you know, I call on all of my guides and guardians to please be present with me as I do this magical working. I call on my totem animals. I have the fox and the owl over here that are both represented on my altar. I call in the fox and the owl. I call in any guides, any guardians that I might have. I call in any teachers of Reiki, any of my Reiki guides from the past, present, and future to be with me, you know, especially if I'm doing any kind of healing work. I bring in my Reiki masters to be with me for that. You know, and you know, it kind of goes from there, you know, those are all part of a collective universal energy. And so that is what I call on. I might call on, you know, the guardian of my pothos plant, which is Patricia. Yesterday, you know, I was doing, like I said, my seed blessing ritual. I called upon the energies and the guardians of each of the seeds, you know, the guardian of basil and of echinacea and of marigold. You know, I called in those energies, that plant, that green Mother Earth energy to be with me for this. So, you know, you don't have to if you don't want to. I know that having a god and goddess it's a very prominent thing in our practice, and most people have them. I know that both of my girlfriends, Natalie and Alora, both work with specific god and goddesses, and it's just not been something, you know, I felt like there was something wrong with me for a long time, but I realized that it's just not something that's important to me. I would rather work with natural earth, air, fire, water energies. I'd rather work with the energies of plants. I'd rather work with the energies of just the universe as a whole. I'd work with, you know, my own guides and my own guardians. I bring in my shamanistic practices, and I bring in, you know, animal guardians to be with me that are here. So that is how I do that without a god and goddess. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them if you want to put them down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what I do. And depending on who I call in, you know, I always call in my guides and guardians. And I just say that collectively. Some of them I know their names, some of them I don't. But I just use that as a collective thing. I say that when I talk to them in the morning too. You know, if I'm not going to work right now, but when I'm on my way to work, you know, I call in my peeps and like, hey peeps, guides and guardians, how you doing? Kind of chit chat with them every day. I always call in my totem animals. I always call in and have the elements here and represented. You know, and then I just start talking. I just explain to them what I'm doing and what I need from them, and you know, that type of thing. And then when it comes to energy building, I really like to drum. Drumming is, I have found, one of the easiest ways for me to build that energy, and it seems to give me really, really good results. So yeah, but like I said, very rarely I don't have a god and goddess to call in. You know, yesterday I did call in Isis when I was doing the seed blessing ritual, just because I feel like having her motherly energy around while I'm planting new baby seeds was important to me. So I did call her to be here. But usually on just like normal magical things, I don't call her. I have my own time and my own special time and place reserved to talk with her over on her altar in her area. So anyways, that's what I got. That is how I do magic without the use of a god and goddess. So really just make sure that when you're doing magic or when you're finding out what you want to use in your practice, that you do things that, and I say this all the time, but I really mean it, like do things that feel right to you. Because if you're just bringing things into your practice because, you know, person A, B, C, and D does it, but it doesn't give you any kind of feeling, there's no energy behind it, you're just doing it because you've basically been told that that's how you do it, it's not going to give you any kind of results. So it took me a long time to realize that I didn't have to have a matron or a patron god and goddess, and once I let go of that and worked with the energies that I love and that I have a deep connection with, my magic went much smoother, because I felt like whenever I had to call in something that I really didn't have a connection to, it was like it was just breaking that energy point. It was like everything was good, and then I got to this point where I was like, oh, this is the part that I have to do, and I'm just doing it because I feel like I have to. So okay, enough rambling. I hope that you guys have an awesome day. I am about to head downstairs and go plant some more BBs because it is Earth Day, and that's what I'm doing today. So if it's nice where you are, get outside, enjoy the day, plant some seeds, do something for Mama Earth, do a little Earth ritual, you know, whatever you want to do. I hope you guys have an awesome one, and I will see you very soon. And if you guys ever have any other questions or any other viewer requests, please feel free to leave them in the comments or get a hold of me on Instagram. I'm over there all the time. You can check me out over on Patreon. You know, I post little magical tidbits and different things from my magical life over there. That link is down below, as well as all the other places you can get a hold of me. So I love you guys, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.